This one comes from New York Post. Mom fuming as daughter 13 gets chest binder at school and is urged not to tell her parents. Seen this way too much, man, where it comes to like schools and they're trying to like hide shit from the parents and trying to have this safe spot for kids. But the parents, I gotta be honest, like this shit, I would be flipping livid, bro, if my kids were having this.
The chest binder is a breast reducer, right?
It's a wrap.
Inhibits the growth of breasts.
Oh, okay. That's what I was going to ask. It's like, what the hell's a chest binder?
No, it's that wrap that they wrap around their chest to, you know what I mean? Like, it's very tight.
Gender transitioning device.
Yeah, it's very, very tight, and it keeps them, I don't know what the proper way is, like flat-chested, right? If they want to be a girl to a boy, like it helps, you know, take away the appearance of the breasts, basically. But it
says it right here, chest flattening garment.
Yeah.
I didn't know there were such things, but
yeah,
hey,
no.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I've, you know, obviously being on the internet, I've seen people wearing them and talking about them. Helps them.
Did Sam Smith wear those?
Well, he should. I don't think he does, but he should. Okay. So this is a Maine mom who has called for an investigation into her 13-year-old daughter's school after she claims a social worker gave the teen a gender transitioning device known as a chest binder and encouraged her to keep it secret from the parents. And this is Amber Levine is the mom. Demara Skoda, I think is how you say that. She found the chest piece in December, confronted the teen, who the teen then said was her friends gave it to her.
Yeah.
But she said, you know what, I'm going to ask your friend's parents then. And then she finally admitted, no, I got it from the school.
So I'm assuming that the school is just telling her to wear it and that she didn't actually ask for it.
Or, well, I don't know. She could have claimed that she was something, and then they're trying to overstep their bounds and encourage her to keep going with it. So had she come out and said, hey, I feel like I'm not a girl, or whatever the situation, they said, well, we have these options for you. Just you can wear it. But she went to the school, and she said that initially that she had talked to the principal, if you will, and she seemed to be on her side with the situation, seemed to be alarmed by it. But, you know, now it seems like that's not the case. They're supporting the person. And the principal was Kim Schaff.
So what state was this in? It says Great Salt Bay Community School.
Yeah.
But I mean, down here, the whole point is that they went behind the parents' back. Oh, in Maine.
Yeah.
They went behind the parents' back because of this Family Education Rights and Privacy Act, where the kid, she's 13, got to talk to somebody at school about changing her gender and sex, right?
Yeah.
And without the parents' consent, and that's not right.
No. Well, and they say she also found out that the school staff had been referring to her daughter by a different name and by male pronouns.
Yeah, and they actually said after the meeting that she had with the principal, the school officials appeared to support the social worker, did not answer any of Levine's questions or turn over any records, citing the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. And this is the kind of little shit that I'm saying a lot of parents don't know, even myself on a lot of this, that they have these like little, it's almost like a lawyer situation, right? You can't speak of your client. These schools are finding ways to have these private things that they are claiming, well, since she's here and she's having this, we can't share it with you.
Yeah.
Like medical privileges almost. And so this mom is just pissed because she's saying they're not even working with me like I'm a human being here. And she also was saying that she feels like her daughter's education was put on the back burner. She feels like the school itself is driving a wedge between her daughter and the family. And they are. Like, I don't know what else.
She did pull the daughter out of the school.
She did.
So thank God, we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? But geez, how many other kids are they doing this to?
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's, I don't know, man.
And are they going to try to do this to our kids? Better not. You know what I mean? Come on now, son.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, it's a touchy one because we all have children in school. And so on top of, like, you know, some of the teachings that they have or some of these liberal teachers that are really, like, and it's not like the old days where, like, you just had liberal teachers and they were kind of giving their opinions. Like, it's a real agenda and a real push.
Yeah.
And so now it's one of those situations where if your kid says anything that remotely sounds like, oh, they actually might be one to transition here. You know, they get super excited and they're like, oh, fuck, let's get this shit going. Let's do this. Fuck the parents. Let's do this shit. Whereas, you know, people, like, kids are fucking weird and they're confused all the time. They don't know what the fuck they are, what they want to be, any of that shit. They're kids. And these schools are taking advantage of the fact, and they're pushing forward agendas, and parents are seemingly having trouble keeping this under control. So the only option they have is to pull the kids out of school.
And these are life-altering decisions. I mean, becoming a woman, you can't or becoming a man, whatever. I mean, you can't change that back most of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, chest binders, I would say, is not life-altering. It is a step towards that, right? But at the same time, when you're talking about sex and the sex of a child and their that kind of realm at a school, I just feel like all of that's inappropriate. Your whole goal at the school should be, let's teach school. Let's teach mathematics. Let's teach English, history, reading, writing, all this stuff, depending on what grade you're in, obviously. And that should be your focus. Their gender, their other shit should not be a focus.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, hygiene is as far as you should go when it comes to physical fitness or whatever, health.
Dude, 100%. I agree with you 100% because that is common. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is basic shit.
How to avoid a disease. Let's go that far.
Deodorant, how to clean yourself properly, and even that can get fucking a little touchy, right?
Well, and the mom said she does acknowledge that her daughter was struggling with gender identity.
Yes.
But she said when she was younger, she liked painting her fingernails and putting on makeup. And that's what makes this so bizarre. She wanted so badly for her daughter to be an athlete because she was an athlete. I was a wicked tomboy growing up. I'm like, she's going to be a basketball superstar. I could get this kid I couldn't get this kid to pick up a freaking baseball and throw it to me to save her life. She was into tutus and My Little Ponies.
Yeah.
And then she goes on to say, the first time I really started to hear her discuss gender ideology in general, she started talking about a friend being pansexual and another friend being polysexual. And I was like, why are we talking sexual right now? You're 11. So basically,
that's what it is.
She started getting confused because other kids around her were talking about the stuff, and the teachers were talking about the stuff.
Yep.
So she wasn't thinking about any of this until people started putting it in her head.
That's a huge thing because there's actually guys that have done these little funny clips where they say this is, and they're showing women, specifically women going to college, what they look like as a senior in high school, what they looked like as a freshman in college. And it's amazing what kind of that cultural surroundings can do to somebody. And I've actually said this a long time. If you look at back, especially in our era, if you look, a lot of these kids that are like trans and all this shit, they all hang out together. And a lot of people are like, well, that's because that's their community. No, it's because you have, I'm not being rude, but I am. You're a wandering little soul that has no real companionship. Let's say you're overweight or you're insecure or any of the things that kids can be. You know what I'm saying? Like in general. And you don't have a clique, you're not into sports, you don't fit in with the in crowd, and you become friends with these little like incel kids, and they're all same position, and now all of a sudden you just start absorbing what they're doing. Yeah. And that's how it is. That's why when we were in school, we had the greasers, bro, right? All the kids that were all greasy and slimed back and and they all hung out together. It's because they all played Dungeons and Dragons and shit, and they were just like, this is their group, and they all looked the same because they all hung out. And all the skater kids hung out and they looked the same. You know what I'm saying? It's just part of you are who you hang with. You know what I'm saying? So unfortunately, some of these kids get brought into this and they all of a sudden absorb it, even though they may not even buy into it, but they don't have another group to be with. Yeah. You know, and it's really problematic because there's no one adult sitting there saying, hey, I want you to be yourself, but I also want you to understand that like this is like part of being young is exploring and being different, like trying to figure out what you are, what is it like being a human, and instead they just encourage their weird behavior.
Well, yeah, and the social pressure is just humongous, like in school, in high school, and all that stuff. I mean, everybody kind of pressures you to be, or at least you feel pressured to be like other people because you want to fit in.
Exactly. It's all about fitting in.
And I mean, when it comes to like the new crazy thing, like if like Deborah and Kristen and Ambrosia are all becoming men, I mean, hey, I want to become a man too, Mom. You know?
Yeah. It's kind of like what clothing used to be, right? You see everybody wearing the shoe, and you want to have that shoe as well. And that's just, it's a huge problem, man.
Yeah.
And it's even a bigger problem that we have schools that are encouraging that. So yeah, I mean, as a parent, you just need to be aware of what your school's doing. That's why I ask my kids, what did you learn? What did you do today? And when they say anything that's even like, oh, you learned about this history, huh? Like, what did they say about that? Like, I'm always curious on, like, what are they teaching?
Yeah.
And that's the only thing you can do, you know? So
Yeah.
keep an eye on the kids. I think the parent did the right thing in this. Pull your kid out of that school. You can sue them or whatever you want to at that point. But damn it, school, stay out of like, you know, moral part of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, let the parents teach their kids the way they want to as far as moral and standards and values go. And you do your job and get kids' grades better, because that's what you're lacking on. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate what she's doing. I think the schools need to back off. That's where I'm at with it.